Boys and girls, crypto nerds of all ages. My name is Monty Allen, and I am your crypto nerd, and this is AlgoFest 2021. Holy smokes.
And I'm Cooper Daniels from the Recoup, and you know what day it is. It's Optember 1st, right? Optember 1st.
Oh,
Yeah.
October
sounds so much better, but it gives me 2 months, right? So
yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
Happy October.
So yeah, we're here with Mr. Optember himself, Lee Parsons, the CEO of Opulous.
I'm gonna hit the intro. Let's see the fancy graphics. Hold on.
Oh, we got graphics.
All right.
Nice.
See, graphics.
What do you think? Good.
All right.
Oh,
and we got viewers. Woohoo!
Sweet. So, Lee, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Opulous? A little background.
Yeah, sure, man. So, anyone doesn't know me, probably loads of people don't. So, I started a company called Ditto around 12 years ago when my brother and I were signed to a record label. We didn't release anything when we were signed to our label. We were just stuck for like 2 years. And then we were trying to release our own music. We grew Ditto from having one customer to having like 500,000 users all over the world. We've worked with everybody from Ed Sheeran. I think Chance the Rapper's probably our biggest selling artist at the moment. Ditto has 30 offices all over the world. And for the last 4 years, I've been working in the blockchain space, and I've been creating Opulous, which is many things. It started off as like a database for organizing royalty payments and copyright splits and managing copyright splits. And then we designed a DeFi platform for helping musicians get loans based on their prior earnings. And then the NFT part, which was always, to me, NFT represents an asset. And the easiest way to represent an asset on the blockchain is a platform that we're actually launching in a few weeks. And yeah, man, and we've been building it with Algorand. We're building a lot more stuff with Algorand, actually. And it's, I think, going to be one of the biggest projects on the Algorand space next to yldy, who are really good friends, and we've been doing a lot with those guys too. So really good to see the Algorand development, man. Because I've known him for a few years myself, and it's just it's really exciting to see and be part of it.
Sweet.
Yeah. I think that you mentioned yldy there, and you're right. yldy is kind of got that momentum now, and you guys are not too far behind him. You've got 13,000 Twitter followers, and you're definitely like the second largest presence, and you haven't even really begun yet. As you just said, in 2 weeks, you're really going to kind of kick it off.
Man. Just pure shilling. No, I'm really joking. Do you know what? It's I think we started it really organically, right? So we launched like a music copyright. He has a British accent, so I trust him. Perfect.
Right.
It works with women overseas and everything. Now we're joking. So we actually did a copyright launch. Sorry, my dog's new and he's a bit abandonment issues. So we did a copyright. We launched like 6 months ago, just a really quick one. We got 2 artists to kind of just test the waters and see if the idea actually worked. It
moved so fast.
Yeah, and it was, and then we got to spend about 6 months actually designing, and there was a lot of kind of hurdles to overcome from the legality aspects, because what we were doing was actually kind of classed as a security. So it was like, okay, well, how are we going to solve that? And then we did solve it, and we've got a really exciting partnership to announce about that in a few weeks. And then we just grew it really. We haven't launched it, but I think people know that we're genuine, and we've definitely worked very hard in this industry for a long time. We've got to just grow it really organically. And once we start, once you see some of the artists that we've got coming through, it's just really going to blow up really quickly.
So let me ask you, so you mentioned artists there. Now, obviously the Algorand community is all behind you, but are artists as into blockchain and NFTs as the blockchain community? Does it take some education for them to be on board, or do you find that artists are already kind of tuned into this community?
You know what, right? Artists are really into it, but actually in most cases, it's the managers that you have to get through, because the managers kind of governance on what the artists want. Watch it. What they hold kind of governance on what you do, and managers love money. So as soon as everyone looked at it, as soon as people saw in the NFT space people making $10 million overnight, there was a lot of interest in it, shockingly. So aside from that, and then on the technology, I'm pretty good friends with Blau and all the other guys doing it. These are guys who've had Ethereum since 2014, and we've all been there's a sector in the music community that have always been into it and not really known how to do it. And even with the drops that we're doing, a lot of the big artists that we're working with, they were like, man, we wanted to do an NFT drop, but we didn't want to. Say goodbye. You're done now. Goodbye. I got interviewed by a dog for an AMA in China, and he looked a bit like it. So I don't know. I thought it might help, but a lot of artists we work with, right, were like, you know, we've seen people do NFT drops, and it just looks like a cash grab, and we don't really want to extort money from our fans just for selling bits of artwork. And they liked Opulous because it's like, okay, well, if we're actually selling an asset of the song that's earning money, then we're really comfortable with that because we know that, you know, people are getting value. So I think they all see the value in it, but I think especially with Opulous, you know, it's been an easier sell to those people that have kind of a forward vision.
So if I were a musician and I was preparing for this, is there anything that I could be doing right now to kind of prepare for Opulous?
Yeah, man, go and write some really good music. So in 6 months' time, we've got some. That's what all musicians should be doing. Get in the studio, especially in lockdown. We want to obviously open a platform to all musicians, right, to be able to come on, and because, you know, Opulous, we've got some massive names, man, some massive names that we'll be launching with, right, household names, and that's great for investing. But if you're an investor, what do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in the next? I can't say anyone, but you know, do you want to invest in the next massive artist, or do you want to find the next artist coming through like an Ed Sheeran, who you can invest in, who is going to spike up? So the best thing about having Ditto Music is, you know, we've got everyone's come through Ditto at some point, from, you know, Ed to Sam Smith to all these guys, and you want to kind of catch those people on the way up of the independent if you're going to invest in someone. So what it will help artists do is anyone can come on the platform, anyone can sell a part of their music copyright, anyone can sell an asset of, you know, of a fan experience. They can also take loans. And then for an investor, you know, that's something you can actually back then, you know, for the future. And if you want to go and play that artist song 1,000 times, you'll be getting paid for it. So I really want to kind of develop it into a platform, you know, that every musician can go and just have a turnkey solution to use.
Cool. So the community provided us with a handful of questions, and about, I think 9 of them were, when are we going to be able to buy? Or when are we going to be able to get, you know, Opul?
Yeah, man. So
right.
we just announced the last round of the DAO Maker SHO on the 15th. That was that today. And as you can know, the exchange listing will be very close to that. So it will be definitely this month. And I would say that the first NFT drop and the platform launch will also be this month. I have a massive, massive event in London on the 18th of September, which is like 1,000 people at the O2 London, where we'll be launching we'll probably announce the first Opulous artist. We'll be announcing the big partnership that we have, and I'll be giving loads of information out over the next, you know, for the next month at that event. So and we'll probably live stream that too. It's really exciting.
Cool.
Excellent. Now, yldy just dropped some news that they had that partnership with Mexi, which should, in theory, make it much easier for ASAs. So has there been some communication between you and the Mexi group?
So I was trying to break into my car.
Was the dog?
I'll say more. I've been warned. I haven't actually. I mean, I've been having meetings. We're obviously doing some stuff with yldy because they're smashing it, man, and they're doing exactly what we want on the ALGO blockchain, which is building bridges and you know, and the staking options, which are really sick. So the Mexi, no, but you know, yldy, yes, and I'm sure there'll be more stuff coming out of that.
Cool.
The dog's
Coop, you want to read that one from the chat community?
Yeah. So will copyright NFTs be recognized as official copyrights by any governmental regulatory agencies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
Short and sweet answer. All right. I'll take the next one. I mean, I could see that we've already seen regulations where smart contracts are going into place. So I can see that.
There you go.
Hunk if you love Opulous. All right. The next question here for the audience. If DeFi loans will be backed by future royalties, which they are, right, in the first couple of examples you gave, what will happen if an artist fails to produce future royalties? What terms, obligations are there to pay back the loan? I guess it's a
good question, man. So the way it works, right? So Ditto out, you know, millions every month to artists. Yeah. So if you're an artist and a lot of artists have been on Ditto for like 10 years. So we know pretty much what they've earned for the last, you know, 10 years. And then you look into it and say, okay, well, this is how much money I can loan them based on what they've earned. And what happens is if they don't pay the money back, those royalties are just paid out from Ditto directly to Opulous until it's paid back. So the copyright diverts to Opulous right? As the ownership, just until the loan's paid back, and then they get ownership of the copyright back. So we don't really take anything like someone would take the house off them, but they would only get that loan if we are 100% sure that that copyright is guaranteed. And if they don't pay the loan, then the copyright reverts to us. It's a quick changeover with Spotify, and then they get it back as soon as it's paid.
Got it. Okay. So cool. In essence, it's kind of like you got first lane position on the royalties, essentially, until they exceed all the payback, and then it's back to them. All right, that makes sense. Have you been approached by any other copycats or any other folks in the industry that want to get into this space, or is everybody kind of watching you, hoping you're going to lay out the roadmap?
I know Blau's doing something similar. I don't know what he's doing. Like I said, there's a bunch of stuff we're doing. The DeFi, no one's really doing because they don't have access to the same assets we do. And you've got stuff like BlockFi that will loan you money based on how much Bitcoin you have, but obviously that's subjected to the market. So in a bear market, you're not going to want to take a loan out if your Bitcoin's going down every day and it's just costing you a fortune. I think what we're bringing to the table in the DeFi market is something very stable because we know how much money is in there and how much they can lend. On the other side, on the NFT music copyright, I know Blau is doing something as well. Like I said, I speak to him a lot, but he's not approaching it. I don't think so as a security, and we will be because we want to make sure it's all kind of legally compliant. There's an argument it isn't a security anyway. It just depends if you kind of have the backing to do it. And I think what Blau's saying is he doesn't believe it is, so he's just going to go for it, which is very admirable. But I'm not getting sued. So
right. It's a little bit of a gray area there, so better safe than sorry in your opinion.
Right. Yeah, man. It's just once we announce the partner that we have, I think people will become very clear that we're on the way to the moon. And cheese, and you can't hear much on the moon. So I think once we announce, it will all make a lot of sense over the next few weeks.
So over the next few weeks, you're going to be announcing a lot of these, like the musicians and a lot of these things.
Yeah, because it's September.
It's September, man.
And then
I can't wait. Then it's October. Cool.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
So you can't tell us a bunch of stuff, I know, but you want to. You really want to. I can tell.
Every time I have like a pre-workout and go on Twitter, I've got trigger fingers, but I've got to be really careful today, and I haven't drunk anything.
Right. Okay. So can you tell us maybe just how many NDAs do you have right now?
I would say in October, we will be launching at least 4 absolutely massive artists onto the platform. And with that, we will be giving, aside from the music copyrights, there'll be some really amazing stuff for people staking the Opulous token. And I believe that, I think yldy will be a big part of that too. So there's definitely going to be some mad stuff happening.
Wow. Cool.
How much... So you kind of defected a little bit. Some of the community was like, "Hey, what happened to Lee? He went to the dark side and started using some ETH over there." So talk to me about the decision to use both.
Monty, I think it was mainly yourself. See, you've upset the dog. Do you know what? When I obviously, what you're looking at, mate? What's going on? Hey, is Monty being mean? When I started off, we were obviously building everything in Algorand, right? And the DeFi platform is being built in Algorand. And then we went to the NFT platform, and we only had a few weeks to build it because this was before we had that slight, bearish dip. And you got to be really. There wasn't an Algorand bridge, and we didn't have yldy or anything. And how are you going to get liquidity to get the NFTs off somewhere else on all the different platforms you're doing that? So we made the decision to launch in Ethereum and then later bridge back to ASA. But since then, we've launched an ASA token. We'll be going live with an ASA token. And I would say that there might be some news within the NFT space on the ASA token as well. That's all I can say. Because obviously, we've always been pro Algorand. It was only kind of an interim to do it. But I think this month we may announce that, we're building the NFT platform more for Algorand. ASA.
Excellent.
Nice. So, I guess we're at AlgoFest. So, what is it about, Algorand that drew you there in the first place?
Well, let's talk about the NFT space, right? So obviously, Algorand I've known for a long time. I've known David Garcia and the other guys, and I really like the team and stuff. And even when I was kind of putting the idea in motion, we were chatting. But on the NFT side, right? Say I sell 1,000 pieces of a song, and I've got to pay Ethereum fees for 1,000 pieces. I've got to mint the NFT. That's one part. Then I've got to send it out. That's another part. Then I've got to send royalties out every month. That's another part. You're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then on the other side, you've got artists that are all worried about the, carbon effects.
Carbon footprint.
On the
Yeah. Environmental stuff.
Yeah, and even if they don't, every time they mention they're doing an NFT drop, they just get grief in the press from everybody by saying blah blah blah. You always flying around a private jet now doing this, and you can't win. So obviously, Algorand kind of takes care of that as well, and that's a big thing that you have to kind of mention to the artists and the managers when you're doing it. So there's loads of advantages, man. Loads, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, NFTs are going to get started minting on Algorand in the very near future. No more Ethan?
Didn't say that. I probably did. Look, I'm telling you up-to-date news of what I know because I blabbed all that myself. Nothing has been finalized, right, on the first few sales. But I would say there's a high probability of a chance that the platform that we're building on the NFT side will end up, going quickly into an ASA platform because for many factors that we won't announce close to the time.
Okay, I almost got you there. Almost. All right, it was close. So high probability.
You're like...
All right.
What else do we have?
Are you considering allowing users to use any other ASA token such as yldy to lend and borrow on your DeFi NFT market? Kind of an unusual question, but I think they want to know if you'd use anything else, or maybe if what if artists want to get paid out in something other than fiat? Can they get paid out in tokens or something?
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, you want to use their own token as well. I think because we're developing an ASA platform, it'd be really easy. It'd be a lot easier to do ASA than an ERC20. So I know there's loads of projects coming out on ALGO, so we all work together, man, to make the best environment we can. So that's a high probability. Yeah.
Okay, got it. I like that answer.
We got a question from somebody from Chicago talking about Chance the Rapper and wondering if, your team can kind of leverage his Chicago connections for rappers.
To get Kanye in.
Yeah, right.
I have actually I've had a meeting with a few people a few times actually about some other stuff. So you never know, man. You never know. Right. Everything's quite related in the music industry. I know he's not into really the NFT space at the moment because he doesn't need to be. He had an album to do. Chance the Rapper. He's doing a lot of film stuff at the moment. I'd say outside of Chicago, we definitely have some very, very big people from the hip hop industry coming in, some really big dance people coming in. You'll see loads of people from all aspects of the music industry using Opulous over the next few months. So
yeah,
I'll have a go with Kanye. I love Kanye, but I've heard he's not the easiest to work with. But I'll have a go for you, mate.
Yeah, right. Have you listened to his new album?
Yeah, I love everything he does though because I'm a Kanye fan. It's definitely taken a few days of hard work to get through it, but it was the same with most of his albums. It's you got to really get into it, man. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Cool. Okay. So we've got a couple more questions here from the audience. So next question is, let me see if I get this right here. So the folks want to know, as you educate the mainstream artists on NFTs, do you think that this is going to draw more artists to you because they're interested in this space? So is this in addition to like just a cool thing for your current clients to use, but are you going to gain new clients because they want to get into the space?
Yeah, do you know what? Like a lot of people thought that all the artists that we're dropping would just be Ditto music artists, but actually none of them actually are the first few drops. But they're people that actually will probably go on Ditto because we're doing the music. It's a really good tie-in. I mean, look, I've been doing digital distribution for 10 years, and it's the least interesting thing to me there is. So when I'm coming to artists and talking about something exciting that's over the next 10 years, I think that's what gets me more excited. And I think outside of kind of the Ditto umbrella, you're going to see, like I said, you're going to see big things. Don't worry. There'll be a press conference on the move 2 weeks. Me and Ziggy. It's all happening.
All right. Ziggy's not honking the horn. All right. Coop, you want to ask that chat question?
Is it the one about royalties?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will royalty payments be consistent with the payouts from the streaming services where media is hosted, like Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube?
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. So that's how it goes, really. So, just as an example on Ditto, every say I'm an artist on Ditto, I'd have like probably 50 different pay sources from all over the world, and then Spotify has about 300 different payment tiers for every country. All that is kind of factored in. The beauty of Opulous and what we built is it all goes onto the backend system. It all splits it up into the owners, whoever that is. And the beauty of the NFT part is if that gets transferred, then automatically gets transferred and paid out. So that was kind of what we were building for the last few years. And I'm really glad that I'm going to get to use it soon.
Cool.
Fantastic. Now, Opulous, your team, right, and is technically been in existence for a few years. So a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Number one, how many people are in Opulous? And number two, was it always going to be this NFT model? Because it seems like it was pretty early on. And you've had this idea maybe kind of on the back burner for a little while.
Yeah, actually, man, if you look at an interview I did in it was published, man, mate. I've got builders in he doesn't like them. If you look at, I did an interview in about 2017 where I said at some point you can be able to buy, an artist token and it's going to appreciate in value. So it's always something we wanted to do. We always wanted to put music as an asset you can trade, and to do that you have to split it up and give it some liquidity. Because at the moment, if you want to buy music catalog, there's like 2 or 3 people in the whole world that buy all the music catalog, and it's something that you and me can't get into because they're just going for 10 million, 20 million. But we should be able to buy a small part of a small song. And that's what's happening in the NFT market, in the same as the real estate market. There's loads of other businesses doing this. So you need
fractional ownership.
Yeah, exactly, fractional ownership. So that was always in the back of our minds. We always built, the platform to be able to do that. And then, with the NFT model, it just kind of, we were building it anyway. It's just I think the whole crypto market needed something that people could latch onto and kind of understand, and get excited about. Because if I tell someone, look, we're doing a back-end system that's going to just fall asleep, I would, in the first 10 seconds. But once you kind of dress it up and say, look, it's an NFT, it does this, then it sounds exciting. And that's what we all need, man, in the crypto space. We need something people are using day in, day out. So I forgot what the question was, but whatever.
Brilliant. How many people on the team right now? How big is Opulous, internally?
It's pretty big. We have a pretty big agency that we're using. A few of the agencies that design all the Algorand stuff that we're using, they're quite big teams. A couple of project managers, myself, one of my best friends, and we started off pretty small, man. Like back in January, a couple of us, and just really built stuff when we needed to. We've got a really, really exciting hire from the music industry that we'll probably announce over the next few weeks. Who's a really, really who actually works. Anyway, that's good. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's huge. I don't think you need a company to be that huge, man. And all these startups that come on, hire hundreds of people, just generally just burn money. You got to really, grow it organically, and build, stuff when you need it. And I think honestly, having that bit of a bear market was the best thing that could have happened because it gave us time to really focus on the product launch, man. And we've got so many things coming, as I keep saying.
Yeah. I actually don't know what this is, but a question is Opulous going to be kind of like what the Miso platform is on SushiSwap?
Yeah, I don't know what that is either. I know what Miso Soup is, and I guess that fits in with the sushi thing, but I don't know what that is. If anyone knows, drop it in the chat.
Yeah. Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is either.
Awesome.
Well, I'm not an ETH guy, so
Sweet.
I haven't seen it. I do have a question though about the so musicians who go onto the platform and kind of a fractional ownership and for royalties. Do they have options on how to get the payout? Is it all or nothing right away? Can they opt to get some now and some later? Do they have some options when they go in and they say, hey, you know what, I want to leverage this for some cash now versus later?
Oh, so they'll get their statements every month, right? Because the beauty of Spotify and iTunes is they report every month. If it's something on the publishing side, it can take longer. But if you look back at the CD market, you literally used to get a sales report possibly once a year, and it just didn't make any sense. With digital sales, it's going to be so sick because you'll be able to see, okay, it's made this on YouTube, this on Spotify, this and so. You'll get all the full breakdown of the sales. And then you will get, like I say, you'll get an option to have your money in USDC, or Opulous token, or whoever else we had, maybe some Algorand. I don't know. See which one's the most popular.
Right.
yldy. He's got it all the momentum at the moment.
Right. Have you thought about so yldy just unveiled their NFT, prize games. Is there a chance we could see some Opulous NFTs involved there at some point in the future?
There's a big chance.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
That was an appropriately vague answer to an appropriately vague question. I'm trying.
And I think a very clear answer. What's that?
Yeah, well, actually, Seb messaged me this morning about that, and we were talking about what we can do and stuff. So, one of the big reasons yldy is so successful is because people are staking it so much, and they obviously believe in the project, and they made it so attractive to stake. They've got a great APY. They're making it exciting with the lotteries, and everyone's talking about it, man. And that's a really great model to have. All the people that kind of believe in the project aren't selling it, and that's why it's doing so well. So all those things they're launching, like the NFTs and stuff, that's something we want to implement as well. And I'm really glad that they're in the ALGO ecosystem, man. And they went before me, so I could learn from what they've done.
Well, and it ties back to what you were saying with kind of like excitement and branding, and obviously the flamingos and everything is just kind of cool. It's appealing.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat just said Miso is a launch pad. So Opulous is a lending platform for artists to borrow against, but could it become a launch pad? I don't know if it'd be a launch pad for other projects. It might be a launch pad for artists.
Yeah, definitely for artists, man. And that's how I see it. It's like initial launches for releases. Because what we're seeing, right, some of the releases that I'm doing, they're actually massive singles that are going to get released into the market a few weeks after we launch them. So they're going to use that as a press springboard. All the investors will get in straight away. And a few weeks later, the song comes out and it will be on, it will be on Spotify and it'll be on New Music Friday and all these platforms. So if you see, the amount of promotion you can get there, and also if you're selling a few thousand pieces of the song, all those people are obviously going to push it on day one. I mean, I use this example a lot, but when we raised a bunch of money with Opulous, right, at the beginning, and then we raised a bunch of it from VCs, and after a few months, we were just like, man, these VCs haven't done anything. I haven't even heard from them. I know for a fact a lot of them are going to dump the token as soon as the token gets released. So we actually refunded a lot of the VCs. We called them up and said, look, sorry, this isn't happening. And then we did more of the community sales. And I think that's why our community grew so much. And that's why, whenever you see posts on Opulous, there's just, people, do the marketing, for us. They're really helping us marketing. If you translate that over to the music side, you've got a record label who, unless you're the one or two artists on that label who are getting all the money spent on them, it's unlikely they'll do any work. Translate, okay, but if you've got 3,000 people on release day that are, actually bought into your song and want to be successful, you're going to see that shoot up on the socials. You can shoot it up on the plays. So I think on the launchpad side, what we want to help people do is they have a record, a song come out. They use Opulous and leverage the community and the crypto community to build that record up. So it's just a win-win for everybody.
We got a question about how the opul token is going to be utilized on the launchpad and in the exchange with the DeFi loans and everything.
Yeah, man, sure. So obviously on the DeFi platform, it's quite a straightforward thing. It's the same as the SushiSwap token is launched. You'll have governance, and you will have different ways you can use it for, for staking and being paid out on it. And do the same as kind of the SushiSwap token is, or most of the, the BlockFi tokens. You'll get a lot better, deals for using the token. On the NFT platform, for holding the token, you will obviously get early access into all of the sales. You will also get access into some of the other things that we're doing, which will be massive, which are the NFT assets, which will be the fan experiences. And we'll actually be giving some of those away to people very regularly. And some of those are just mad, like, trips all over the world to hang out with your favorite stars and stuff. So there's going to be loads of kind of different, just things for having that token. Obviously, we work in the music space, man, and we have, loads of artists, your favorite artists, who will be dropping different things. So to get special access to those, we want to reward the community over newcomers and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I know we have a guy in here saying that he's been really close to the music industry for a few years, and they're already teaching about Opulous in classes.
Oh, great. Maybe they can send me some notes. We'll get it done, right?
That's funny.
That's awesome, man. Love it. I can't wait to launch, man. I just, it's obviously I've been hyping up for a long time now, so the pressure is on, but it's all going to be very exciting. October and September, big months.
That sounds like it.
All right, what's that? We got one more over there too, Coop.
Oh yeah, so somebody wants to know when amateur artists can get involved. When are amateur artists?
Yeah, man. So amateur ones, so ones that kind of aren't, you know, backed by labels and stuff. That is, like I said before, that is the ultimate goal of what we want to build. It's not just something for huge artists to sell a piece of their song. It's for everyone to be able to come on and, you know, they might want to sell a part of their song. They might want to say, you know, I will come do a private show for you for this much. And the best thing about NFTs is, you know, you had stuff like this on Kickstarter before, right? So you could say, I'm putting a song out, I will sell one thing for £1,000 or I will come into your garden to perform. That's great. But what if, you know, if Ed Sheeran puts that up and says, when he was young, I will put a, you know, for £1,000, I'll come and perform. Someone buys that, you can actually hold that asset. There'll be an exchange where you can trade it around. And then eventually, you know, as that kind of, as his career goes up, people appreciate in value. So even if people aren't speculatively buying it because they want to see you perform, we can, you know, you can buy stuff speculatively, and it will just cause so much more interest from investors on things, the music industry. So we want to be able to, any artist to come on and yeah, sell whatever they want, really. So I think it's going to be, you know, it's not going to be, you know, this year, but I think early next year, once we've got, you know, all the test stuff out, that's based ultimately what we are building.
Cool. Well, what else?
I think that so musicians themselves, when they you know, they start with the platform, I guess, is like they can earn, or they can get some of their funds early, but which is good for them, and more of them, a higher percentage, it seems like. But the folks are like, okay, well, that's good, but I know Lee's not doing this just out of the kindness of his heart. What's the business plan? So are you like a traditional business where a management company, we're going to take a, you know, a certain percentage? It's just a smaller percentage than other models. How does that work? Where does Opulous come in?
On the DeFi platform, obviously we operate like all the DeFi platforms. We take a small part of fees, and the long-term goal of that is, you know, there's thousands of transactions on there. On the launch pad, we take a percentage of the actual sale between us and our partners for handling the sale. It's not a huge percent, but, you know, it definitely adds up. You know, some of these sales are massive. You know, you're talking, you know, 7 figures. So it definitely adds up onto that one. And then obviously, eventually, once we've got thousands of artists using it, there's definitely I think what we're doing actually has a really good business model. We're already looking at the first month, we'll already be very, very cash positive. So strange in the crypto space, it's a first, but we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Actually make some money. So, you know, why not?
So wait, you were saying, you know, amateur artists might be able to kind of use the ecosystem to like get, you know, like offer their services to like perform at a party.
One of the and you'll notice we had a partnership with Binance recently, right? So what we were doing with Binance is we are doing some NFT drops that are actually music fan experiences. Right, so we had Lil Yachty and Kyle, and what they were offering is stuff like a day in the studio with Lil Yachty, and that will go on in exchange. And how much is that worth? It's probably worth about, you know, $100 to one of us, but then to someone else who's really rich and there's someone, you know, he's probably could go for like $1 million. You don't even know. So those things are going to be very tradable and very collectible. So what we will be trading on Opulous is, like I said, is anyone can do a fan experience. If you're a new artist starting out and you offer something for like £100, and someone might speculatively say, okay, well, I think you're going to be massive, or, you know, your fan base might want to buy it, but it's better than a normal, you know, Kickstarter thing, because I said these are NFTs with actual proof of ownership on, and they can be traded. So that's where it's not just kind of selling, you know, to play at a party or something. Or that'd be cool.
That's cool.
Guys,
can you talk to us about the name Opulous? So I know there's a little bit of a story there. Must be, how did you come up with the name? What's the backstory there?
I don't know whether to tell the real story. I can't remember. I said I was very hungover on holiday, and then we were trying to think of a name, and I just said to a mate, I'll just need something just throw away, like, and I meant to say Oculus, and then I wrote it down as Opulous, and then I thought, man, that actually sounds pretty cool. Then I looked it up, and it means opulent, which is obviously wealthy, and obviously there's a very lucky in some of the Asian markets. And the long story is, it sounds cool, you know.
Yeah.
And it's what we all want. So it means obviously financially stable. It's a brand new word, like a Google word that hasn't really been used before, and yeah, I like it now.
Sweet.
A happy accident, I think.
Did Opulous make any changes to go forward due to the DAO maker hack?
Nah, not really. I mean, we're only raising a little bit of money on Downmaker for the next round. And honestly, Downmaker are a really good team, man. And I think everyone has been hacked, and I think they've made sure everything was good from that point. So I get why people are a bit concerned, but man, everyone's getting hacked at the moment, and it's bad times. Apart from Algorand, can't get in there. The fortress.
Right. It's secure. All right. So talk to us about this the token generation event that's happening in September, I guess we're calling it, right? So what's the plan here? How do we fill us in a little bit more?
So we've got a bunch of dates
happening.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of dates happening. The first thing we have to do is a second round on Downmaker, because we owe them a round, and it's like the people have entered a lottery to get into that, and it'll be like, I think it's like 100 grand tickets. So they will do that on the 15th for us. That is the last allocation there is from that point. Mm-hmm. And you can expect an exchange listing around that time, very close to that time. We have a big Ditto event on the 18th, like I said, in London, which is an absolutely massive event. It's so we'll be announcing probably the first artist drop that we do at the event. We'll be announcing the partnership at the event, some other news, probably some Algorand news too, probably some yldy news. And then I'm going to trip up and say something I'm not supposed to say. And then we'll have I think I've given the date away already. I can't remember, but we'll have an artist drop this month.
Okay. We almost got you. I don't know. Sometime before the 18th, I think maybe is what I got there. Possibly.
No, it won't. Well, it won't be. We won't do it before the TGE, and we won't do it before exchange listing. You will have some time before the artist drop to be able to stake your token and get some really sick stuff for when the artist drop comes up. And also, like I said, we'll be working with yldy to make sure the ASA has a lot of perks for it for the ASA holders. And the future is ASA. Let's go.
How much of your time is spent with Opulous right now versus Ditto? Are you 100% Opulous? What's your time split like?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty much 100% Opulous, to be honest. Ditto kind of runs itself, and my brother also runs Ditto. Ditto is something, I started myself, and it kind of grew into this thing that I don't have to do much to, which is nice. And I love Ditto, but I guess right now the passion is the dog's name is Ziggy, and my dad gave it that name, and we didn't love the name, but my dad never comes up with anything. So we just thought, we'll let him have it.
Just went with it.
And I quite like it now. So yeah, man, like I said, forgot what I was talking about there, but to the moon.
I think you're giving us a specific date on when the listing is going to happen and some NFTs drop.
What I will tell you is the 18th, we will announce first drop on the date.
Okay.
So that's definite, and it will be this month. And the exchange will be this month.
All right, nice. So we got at least this month, and we got on the 18th we'll get an announcement. All right, we like that. What other projects are you watching, man? What else is on your radar right now?
It's really hard to say, man. I'm mostly in Algorand or Ethereum. Obviously, most of my team were in the actual seed investor round from Algorand, from when it actually first started, and they're still holding. We're all holding our tokens. So I really think Algorand is, I think $10 is definitely possible, this year. I think it's going to go with all the stuff happening. It hasn't really had its run yet on the price. I don't even know if I can talk about that, but there you go. So I bought a load of Ethereum when it was like $100 last year, because, and I generally just stake that and watch it go. I really just, there's only a few things I really go into, to be honest. So I really like yldy as well. But ASA or Ethereum for me, that's it.
What do we got here? There was a document. There was a documentary not too long ago about how musicians had to declare bankruptcy due to not being able to repay the loans and the cash flow during their career, and their career was not sufficient enough to keep them afloat. Yeah.
Man, do you know the problem was, right? And I've got artists that I work with who are on 9% deals, 9%. So basically what happens is they sign a record deal, they get maybe like 20 grand advance, right? 20 grand. And then their master goes to the record label, which is the whole ownership of the song. They get paid 9% back. And you get that 9% back after the record label spent everything. Now that classes as your video. If the person working on there goes for lunch, that classes. So basically the record label probably will give you 20 grand, spend £1 million, and then you'll get paid 9% back of the net on that. So you end up owing about, at least 900 grand when you've finished. And that's after, working on it for 6 to 12 months. That's what it's been for 50 years. Well, since the beginning of time, because record labels get away with it. At the moment, you can't get away with that. And, because of, honestly, people like Ditto, we actually came in and said, okay, well, we're going to give a platform to independent artists to release without a label. Because honestly, the reason I started with Ditto was because I was on a label and I couldn't release any music anywhere. I couldn't even get it in a shop. No one would give me without a deal with a label, you couldn't do anything. And now because of streaming and sites like Ditto, artists are more in control. The labels actually can't get away with that. They would do it. Whenever you see artists do a press release about, we're doing this, no, you have to do it now. You'd still be taking 91% if you could. So unfortunately, all the artists you see from the 80s and 90s, early 2000s don't have any money. All the, massive artists, man. Anyone who's had a number one single, they probably ended up in debt, which is mad. And if they're not touring anymore, which a lot of them aren't, they don't have any income. But what you're seeing now is people that Ditto have worked with, AJ Tracy, your Stormzy's, Dave, who, we worked with for a long time. These guys all own their music. And that means they'll be earning money. Chance the Rapper owns everything. So he'll be earning money for the next, his family will earn money always from that music every year. So it's a much better spot now.
Right.
And that's why Opulous is going to capitalize on that to the moon.
Do you want to take that?
Oh, I wasn't going to ask that question. I had another one. So is there a chance that people who own these rights, these I don't know, the portfolios, that they could NFT somebody else's music? Do we run that risk of somebody else, not the artist, creating NFTs for these?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Who owns the portfolio of songs? So you mentioned a whole bunch of artists who own their songs, right? They own their masters or what have you, right? So what if another company owns them or some other individual who's purchased those rights? Is there a chance that they would create NFTs and, the artist misses out again?
No way, man. I mean, that's the beauty of the blockchain, right? It has to be recognized and properly validated to get on there. And once it's on there, you can't have the wrong information. If the wrong information goes up once that person blacklisted from the blockchain, that's why we need the blockchain. Actually, that is what happens. I give the example all the time, but the Happy Birthday song, Warner Brothers just said they owned it for like 70 years. No one checked, and they made about $200 million just by saying we own that. And no one could even prove anything. With the blockchain, it's got to be validated by a bunch of sources, which are the writers properly. It's got to stay on the blockchain. So all that stuff, you can't mess it up, and it's a long road to be able to get all that stuff done properly, and that's something else we're working on, but we definitely won't have the same mistakes that we had in the past, no. So I think that's one of the problems it's going to solve.
Good. All right, I cut you off, Coop. Go ahead.
Did you? No, I'm good. Okay, I mean, from an ethics perspective, does Opulous offer that protection so musicians don't find themselves in a similar situation in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, man. Like I said, the best thing about the blockchain is having your music properly validated and registered and recorded. Because what will happen is, even now, right, Ditto, we have a whole department that has to handle legal issues. So if you have one person, if us three make a song tomorrow, right, and Monty uploads it to Spotify, and I say, well, that's my song, how are you going to prove it? Because we're all on the song together. Prove anything. And what actually happens is Spotify will have to open a legal dispute. I'll have to open a legal dispute. We all go around in circles for about 6 months and it all just goes wrong. With the blockchain, we'll put the music onto the blockchain. All us three will say, okay, do we all own this? Yes. We put the agreement onto the blockchain. And if any changes are made on that song, then it's all recorded from that point. And actually everything from the dawn of time on that song into the next 100 years is going to be recorded on the blockchain. And that doesn't happen anywhere else. So that's one of the really important pieces of why it's such a big thing for the music industry. And I don't think many people are looking at it at the moment, but it will obviously be a really big thing. And that's something we've also been, working on for that's why it took so long, really, just building the back-end system to manage all that data.
Cool.
I think there's a huge amount of education that's going to go into this before it goes mainstream. Yeah. We only have a few minutes left here, but just a fun question. Are you into NFTs, and do you own any Opulous, flavored NFTs? We got the octopuls out there that I think I own one of those.
We own I gave Ivan a bunch of money and just told him to go and buy a few of everything the other day. So I can't tell you which one I own, but we are building a nice collectible database and supporting everybody that builds them. So cool. I haven't had a lot of time to even look at NFTs, if I'm honest. I don't want to. Also, don't want to lose my money like I did in 2017 by buying certain coins that don't have value. So I think the NFT market is a bit scary at the moment. That some of the weights, but I think stuff like the Opulous NFTs are sick because they're so new. They're really the price is really good. So we've been buying up loads of them, man, and we will continue to support anyone that wants to create anything.
I love it.
There might be a few people out there that are wondering, is it just you and your dog? Are you a single man? I mean, what's going on there? I think
I didn't see that in the chat. I don't know where that question came from.
Apparently it's just me.
Is this treating me keeping this is why we get so much flack on YouTube. Yeah, things are. Is this what kind of interview is this?
I don't know. You seem like you might be willing to answer that question, so why not?
Yeah, I think. If my girlfriend asked that question, probably.
All right.
This is why Coop and I are a good tag team because he's the funny one.
Oh really?
Yeah, I hope. Sometimes.
Yeah. I'm really joking.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I think are we out of time? Yeah, we're out of time. It's 10:50. We got 10 minutes to prep for our next class. Lee Parsons, everyone. Lee, it has been an honor. Yeah. We appreciate you. Bye, Ziggy. Everyone out there, stay tuned. We'll go live again in about 10 minutes with our next guest.
ALGO community, Opulous community, thank you so much, man. I'll see you in the Telegram. Ziggy, take care.
Woof. All right, thanks.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.